And we begin with a wildfire alert and top federal officials on the ground in Northern California, where 48 people are now confirmed dead in the state's deadliest and most destructive wildfire in history, as families wait to learn if their homes are still standing or reduced to piles of ash. Search crews are still uncovering bodies as they pick through the scorched remains of neighborhoods, including the town of Paradise. At last report, hundreds of people were still missing. Families have been searching for loved ones at evacuation centers, posting photos and handwritten letters on bulletin boards. This note reads, "Chris, I hope you're okay. Sean Jr. is very worried about you." Here in Southern California, officials say they found a body in the burn zone of that wildfire that has been scorching the Malibu area. If confirmed, it would be the fire's third known victim. Take a look at this, a surveillance camera capturing the final moments of a house in Malibu as the wildfire closed in last week, embers swirling in the wind. The homeowner told our Fox station KTTV he got his family out safely with just the clothes on their backs, but the house they just remodeled months ago is gone. As firefighters battle to get the upper hand, other fires have been flaring up, including this one in San Bernardino County, east of Los Angeles. These dramatic images are from late last night, people rushing to escape as walls of flames came close to neighborhoods. We have Team Fox coverage. Our chief correspondent Jonathan Hunt is live in Malibu. First to Claudia Cowan, reporting live from what's left of the Northern California town of Paradise. Claudia.
Trace, with the death toll climbing ever higher, the big question is how many more victims will be found. Butte County officials just released an updated list of those missing, the names of 98 people, almost all of them elderly, who have not been seen since this fire started last week. Among the dead, 48-year-old Jesus Fernandez of Concow. He's being remembered as a considerate neighbor and a loving father. And 63-year-old Ernie Foss was a San Francisco native who perished along with his beloved dog outside his home here in Paradise. Right now, Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke is meeting with first responders, hearing about the grim search underway for more victims. A small army of coroner recovery teams, chaplains, and 100 members of the National Guard searching every piece of property as quickly and as thoroughly as possible, because the one thing they don't want is for someone to come across human remains once the evacuation is lifted. Still no word on when that will happen. The not knowing about their loved ones or their homes, coupled with this very unhealthy air, adding to the anxiety for 52,000 evacuees. Many shelters are filled to capacity, leaving those with nowhere else to go camping in parking lots.
I'm at Walmart parking lot. I'm in this tent right here, and went from owning a house to living in a tent.
We did get notice that we lost everything. It's very disheartening to know you're homeless.
There's a lot of questions about the road ahead. You know, it's pretty uncertain right now about how to proceed for most people. So we're just trying to walk through this one day at a time at this point.
Nearly 6,000 firefighters now have the campfire 35% contained. Video taken from a drone shows most of the city in ashes, but it's important to note the hospital, high school, city hall, and several department stores did not burn. Those buildings will serve as symbols of hope and endurance as Paradise strives to rebuild. It's a long road to recovery for these folks, Trace.
These windows up. I think we go faster.
Do I go?
We're going to find out up here in a minute, aren't we? I think we can drive through this.
What?
Holy bacon.
Dad, what if the car blows up?
Oh, wow, we're dead. Just keep driving. Not too fast, but we'll be okay.
Dad, this is insane.
I know. We don't want to get trapped in here. Easy, easy. All right, we're good. Slow down. There's a big rut here. Just slow down. We're out of that fire.
We're not out of it yet, Dad. Oh my God.
All right, we're good. Slow down. Slow
Dad,
down.
no.
Yes, we're out.
We're not out.
We're good though. What? Easy, easy, easy.
Oh my God.
Keep going. Go. Easy, easy. Easy, easy. Can't see. Just go easy now. Easy.
Dad, the car's heating up. It's gonna explode.
We're all right.
Oh Jesus, God, help us.
We're all right. Slow it down. Okay, slow it down so we can see, Jess.
Dad, what if a tree falls on us?
We're okay. Slow it down.
Please, God, help us.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Dad, we can't get out.
I'm getting out. You can't drive back. We get that out of the road. We get gloves.
Oh my God.
Stop.
Dad, we gotta get out of here.
Back it up.
Dad, we gotta get out of here.
Right, back up. Watch your hair. Back up.
Heavenly Father, please help us. Please help us to be safe.
Wildfires, the new eruption just today. The Woolsey fire outside Los Angeles roaring back to life, threatening homes. There's been a massive aerial assault all day. And tonight, new video now emerging of the terrifying escape from Paradise, California. A family with 4 small children forced, like so many families, to drive through the flames just to survive. But so many facing the same thing did not survive.
Tonight, an all-out assault on the Woolsey fire.
The terrain is too steep. You can't get hand crews in here.
DC-10s and Chinook helicopters attacking a new flare-up after a week of intense firefighting. Argio Benitez saw the battle firsthand. Firefighters taking no chances. The campfire north of Sacramento, hundreds still missing, many more grateful to be alive.
There's explosions everywhere. Oh my God, people's tires are popping.
Overnight, a new blaze erupting east of Los Angeles near a freeway in San Bernardino County. The fast-moving flames tearing through people's backyards, fueled by strong winds, scaring families who packed up their cars to evacuate. But up north, the death toll is still rising from the Camp Fire, which has now claimed at least 48 lives. And a desperate search is still underway for the hundreds of people possibly missing.
The vast destruction is just indescribable, stretching on for miles and miles. Homes reduced to rubble, cars like this one, the door left open, the people who were inside rushing to safety.
Up and down California this morning, the state is still smoldering. The Woolsey fire, the largest fire ever in LA County, more than 400 structures destroyed.
The only other challenging incident I've been on to this magnitude was Hurricane Katrina in 2005.
At the Camp Fire north of Sacramento, complete destruction. Most of the community of Paradise gone. Everywhere you look, charred remains, reminders of what used to be here. More than 8,800 buildings destroyed. Alan Pierce, a nurse, was evacuating patients when he came upon a wall of flames. Miraculously, he was able to turn around.
This bulldozer comes out of nowhere and just knocks the truck on its side. Then that bulldozer then cleared a path and was able to turn around in the woods.
Paradise was lost here in Northern California, as these apocalyptic images revealed. Entire lives incinerated in a matter of minutes.
Oh my God.
4 days have passed since this raging wildfire first ripped through the retirement community of Paradise and beyond, burning at a rate of 30 football fields per minute. Down PG&E power lines combined with high winds is believed to have sparked the fire.
Tonight, as a volcano of fire explodes in the hills outside Malibu.
Mandatory evacuations are underway.
The orders to evacuate came immediately.
See, it's right there, so...
It's getting closer.
It's getting closer.
With Santa Ana winds fueling dangerous new flare-ups today, crews on the ground desperately need help from above.
Helicopters like these have been flying 24 hours a day looking for any body of water to make drops on that massive inferno.
With air quality already dangerous, tonight new concern over toxic smoke. The Woolsey fire scorched the Santa Susana Field Lab, a highly contaminated area where there was a nuclear meltdown 60 years ago. In Northern California, where the death toll has now reached 42, families are living a nightmare in the town of Paradise, adding the names of the missing to a message board.
Actor Gerard Butler's Malibu mansion in ruins.
Welcome to my home in Malibu. I've gone.
He recorded the charred smoking remains as he returned for the first time to size up the devastation.
Wow.
And it is absolute destruction for Miley Cyrus. Her $2.5 million compound now rubble.
Here on Miley Cyrus's property, everything was destroyed by the fire, except for her recording studio behind me.
The rainbow-colored structure, a bright spot amid disaster. This mansion, up in flames, belonged to Kelsey Grammer's ex-wife and Real Housewives star Camille Grammer.
Oh my God, please God.
A woman driving to escape the Malibu flames sobs while praying to make it out alive.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And there is heartbreak for celebrity doctor Robert Heisinger of TV's Biggest Loser.
It's like a nightmare.
We're there as he and his fiancée Raquel arrive for the first time amid powerful gusty winds to see nothing remains of his once stunning $10 million mansion.
We have a new fire that's broken out, this time in Rialto, southwest of the amphitheater in Glen Helen.
Now that fire is burning about 90 miles away from the Woolsey fire that has gotten most of our attention this week.
Well, extremely high winds. You can see how that fast that smoke is moving right there, and huge flames. And what's right across the street? Homes, an entire community. This is happening, like you said, in Rialto. What we're showing you right there is Lytle Creek. That road that we've been talking about, that is going to be Riverside Drive. And then you can see a number of homes out here. Now the fire department's been out here. They've been working to get these flames in check. Right here at this intersection of Amberwood and Riverside Drive, there was a palm tree. It's still kind of going, but believe me, this is only a portion of what was happening earlier on. You can see those embers, how quickly they're moving off of that tree, blowing right into that neighborhood. Now the fire department, they've been actually on the roof of this house right there, the one directly there, but there's trees out here as well. So they're keeping a very close eye on what's going on inside that neighborhood.
Some of the canyons above Malibu look like the surface of a lifeless planet, with almost nothing left to burn. But all it takes is one hot ember riding one gust of wind into another canyon, and suddenly there is a whole new front in this war with Mother Nature.
Imagine living down in that valley and realizing the only thing between your entire life and that wall of flame are these incredible pilots.
This flare-up near Lake Sherwood scrambled a full aerial assault with helicopters, big and small, fixed-wing tankers bombing the flames with a jelly-like retardant, drop after drop, costing California millions of dollars. Pacific Ocean water is cheaper, though less effective, but things are so desperate, this day brought the surreal sight of surfers and super scoopers sharing the lineup at Malibu Beach.
The damage and destruction in northern and southern California is measured one family at a time across the state. More than 7,000 homes look just like this. The fire burning in the Los Angeles area is bigger than the size of the city of Denver, and it's still on the move.
Elaine Quijano. Winter arrived ahead of schedule on Thursday, walloping parts of the Midwest and Northeast with snow and sleet. The storm has created dangerous travel conditions as drivers navigated icy roads. At least 7 people have been killed due to the storm. The storm is slated to continue moving north and will drop more rain and snow. CBS News correspondent Nikki Batiste has the latest.
It's so slippery in here.
Wet snow sent cars smashing into trucks on the George Washington Bridge in New York late this afternoon. In Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a snowbound tractor trailer came to a halt next to a bus sprawled across 2 lanes, a warning for drivers to proceed with caution. From a slew of spinouts in St. Louis to fender benders in Ohio, the storm stirred up trouble. Snap, crackle, and drop was the sound of icy branches falling in this Dayton, Ohio neighborhood. Snow and ice accumulation has downed trees and knocked out power for more than 245,000 customers in 5 states. This morning, the White House shimmered in another coat of white. Snow hasn't fallen this early in Washington, D.C. in 22 years. Here in Ridgefield, Connecticut, customers snaked out the door this morning.
Shovels, tube sand weight down the back of their cars. They're worried. It's the first storm of the season.
The snow is falling here at a rate of 1 to 2 inches per hour. It's expected to turn into freezing rain overnight, which could mean dangerous travel conditions tomorrow. Thousands of flights have already been canceled or delayed, and Elaine, the temperature out here is frigid.
All right, Nikki Batiste, thank you.
A copy and paste error seems to have revealed US prosecutors are preparing charges against WikiLeaks chief Julian Assange. It was discovered in an unrelated court filing, which was said to have been made by mistake.
The complaint supporting affidavit would need to remain sealed until Assange is arrested in connection with the charges in the criminal complaint and can therefore no longer evade or avoid arrest and extradition in this matter.
Well, Assange has been holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for more than 6 years. He fears extradition to the US for publishing secret government documents. Last year, sex assault charges against the Australian national were dropped by Swedish authorities, but he still faces arrest in the UK for breaking bail terms. Although exact details of the potential charges remain a mystery, Assange fears he could face a life sentence. Any charges could date back to 2010 over the leak of diplomatic cables and secret military files regarding US atrocities in the Iraq and Afghan wars. Last year, WikiLeaks published the largest leak in CIA history concerning the agency's arsenal of cyber tools, and he could be prosecuted for publishing stolen emails from the Democratic National Committee ahead of the presidential election. A special investigation by Robert Mueller into Trump-Russia collusion claims they were hacked by Moscow. Assange can't make comments because, in an increasingly strained relationship, his Ecuadorian hosts have placed a series of restrictions on him. They've limited internet access, visitors, and public statements. The whistleblower's lawyers say if these US charges are real, it would set a dangerous precedent for press freedom. Former MI6 officer Annie Machon believes a notion like this is becoming ambiguous to the major media.
Obviously, when WikiLeaks broke into the international consciousness about 8 years ago, he had a lot of allies in the international media and worked particularly closely with organisations such as the Washington Post, the New York Times and the Guardian newspaper in the UK. Then there seemed to be a lot of infighting, and these old legacy media outlets started turning on Julian Assange. So the question is, why are they not protecting one of their own? Do they not realise that if they don't protect one of their own, they will be equally vulnerable under these sort of laws? And I think that's something that all the legacy media in the West needs to really seriously think about. Either we have press freedom for all, or we have press freedom for none.
And now to North Korea, where its state media apparatus is reporting that the country has tested a new, quote, ultra-modern tactical weapon. The DPRK says leader Kim Jong-un witnessed the test, but did not offer any specifics about the weapon itself. It's the first time the country has publicized a visit to a test site since it test launched its intercontinental ballistic missile about a year ago. The rogue state often uses these test launches as a sort of leverage in international affairs, but we have notably seen the North Korea taking a less aggressive stance in the last year. We have not been seeing, Vlad, as you mentioned in the lead-in to me, we've not been seeing those nuclear weapons tests or those ballistic missile tests that had so rattled nerves around the world. Vlad?
Fake news is becoming more advanced and threatening societies around the world. Here in the U.S., Americans are creating fake accounts and pages on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites to further divide our country and spread false information. This, of course, was extremely evident in the midterm elections when Facebook deleted more than 800 American accounts and pages for publishing lies. CBSN contributor Alex Clement is here to break down this story. He writes for Signal. That's a newsletter produced by G0 Media. Good to see you.
Likewise.
So you have this whole write-up in today's newsletter. Take us through the first point that you highlight about Americans taking a page out of the Russians' playbook.
Well, after the 2016 election, a lot of focus was on how and to what extent Russian agents or actors had used social media as a platform to target voters with fake news as an attempt to influence how they voted. In the midterms, as you say, Twitter and Facebook discovered that there are hundreds of accounts that are based here in the United States that are doing exactly the same thing. And it's across the spectrum. It's on the right and it's on the left. And in some respects, some of the strategies and tactics that were used by the Russian agents have been adopted by domestic actors. Let's be clear, spreading false information in an electoral cycle is not new. What is new is the precise and increasingly sophisticated use of technology and social media to do it, to target it very specifically towards people in an effort either to polarize them or to influence how they vote.
It's not at all surprising. I mean, it apparently worked when the Russians attempted in the 2016 elections. And so it's not surprising that other countries people who have nefarious intentions would take a page out of that playbook, because you've also found there's a BBC report that suggests that India may be having problems with fake news.
Well, I mean, a large number of countries are having problems with the issue of fake news affecting their political discourse, affecting polarization, and so on. I think it's useful to think of the fake news problem a bit like a drug epidemic, in the sense that there is a supply problem. There are publishers and outfits, and some of them are connected to governments and some are not, that are putting out fake news in an attempt to rile people up, polarize people, influence how they vote. That's the supply side of the equation. But there's also a demand side of the equation. This stuff exists because people want it, because trust in traditional media is so low, polarization is so high, people are awash in information, and they just want to have their biases confirmed. So I think it's useful to think about, even if we could stamp out all the suppliers of fake news at the moment, you would find new ones tomorrow morning because there's a demand for this stuff. And that's a much deeper structural problem with our societies that we have to address.
There's also there's a new element to all of this. People are using face mapping technology. And our Tony DeCoppola, CBS News correspondent, did a story similar to that for CBS This Morning. Tell us about this technology.
So most of the focus on the spread of fake news up until now has been about news that's communicated in text or in photographs, fake photographs. What technology is increasingly able to do is to create what are called deep fakes, which take a facial map of a known person's face and create essentially a video of that person saying or doing things that they did not in fact ever say or do, right? Wow. There's quite a famous one of President Obama that's been
we just showed it. Yeah.
Yep. And this raises a whole bunch of questions about, it sort of puts the question of fake news and how to separate fact from fiction on steroids, because a photograph is worth a picture's worth 1,000 words. A video is worth 1,000,000 words, right? People intuitively seem to believe that what they're seeing on video is real. And so it puts the whole thing on a whole other level.
Yeah, and I mean, this was already well evident. I mean, if you watch Forrest Gump and you saw how they replicated President Kennedy or President Johnson saying things they never said, you could see where this was headed. It's really scary. In Health Watch, we have new statistics about the prevalence of milk allergies. CBS News' Kenneth Craig reports they are the most common allergies found in children.
Here, take another one.
For 6-year-old Morian Kumar, mealtime can be a challenge. As an infant, his mother says he was diagnosed with a long list of food allergies, including milk.
Was that a lot for you to take on?
It required an adjustment to the lifestyle. We stopped buying milk for anybody at home, and of course no going out to restaurants.
New research being presented at the American College of Allergy, Asthma and Immunology's meeting finds milk allergy affects about 2% of kids under the age of 5. And more than half of infants under age 1 who have a food allergy are allergic to milk. Allergist Dr. Purvi Parikh says parents need to be on the lookout from the beginning.
Look for rashes, diarrhea, abdominal pain. All of those could be signs of a milk allergy.
In severe cases, the allergy can be life-threatening and lead to anaphylaxis. But the research shows only 26% of milk-allergic children carry an EpiPen, the lowest rate among the top 9 food allergens.
The good news is that is one of the allergies that is able to be outgrown. Most children actually outgrow their milk allergies.
Morian hasn't outgrown his milk allergy, but his doctors are hopeful one day he may.
It's possible that it will take him a very long time to grow out of it.
He's also allergic to peanuts, tree nuts, and eggs, so this family stays vigilant everywhere they go. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Well, doctors say parents of children with milk allergies should make sure they're getting the necessary nutrients.
Now, there are growing claims that a supposed war on Christianity is being fought at the moment in universities in the US. In one incident, a student at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College was stopped from handing out cards containing the words, "Jesus loves you." She sued, claiming her freedom of speech had been violated, but a court then threw out the claim, siding with the college, which argued she was stopped because she was in a staff-only area. Well, in another incident, a Christian student rep at Berkeley University is facing calls to resign after she abstained from a vote on a resolution supporting the LGBT community. And librarians at Simmons College published a guide warning Christians that the phrases Merry Christmas, Happy Easter and also God bless you are so-called microaggressions against Muslims. We discussed the issue with legal analyst Lionel and editor Dave Lindorf.
If this were any other religion, any other situation, nobody would have any problem with this. None. It would be understood. It would be tolerated. There would be diversity. It would be understood. But if it's Christianity, if it's Jesus on college campuses today, no go. This is open season in this country, especially on college campuses. You can go through the litany of complaints regarding Christianity. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of somebody who is overtly Christian. I personally am irreligious. It doesn't matter one way or the other. What I'm telling you is that it is anathema. It is considered not in any way tolerable. It is not diverse. Atheists, agnostics, no problem. We understand. We tolerate. We get it. Christians, you're on your own. That's a fact.
And that's just really not true. I mean, my wife teaches at Temple University in Philadelphia, and there are Christians all over the campus handing stuff out all the time, no problem. There's bigger problems, I think, with Muslims because there's some harassment of them by other students. But, you know, in general, I think in general it's live and let live with religious stuff on campuses. It's a huge exaggeration, and it's being used to promote this notion that everybody's becoming intolerant